Welcome back to The Price of Business. I am your host, Kevin Price, talking to you about you and your business. Michael Racher, he's a regular contributor on The Price of Business, and I always like having him on the program. Love what you do with your company. I think it's very forward-thinking. It's so important, from an efficiency perspective, making a difference in so many different companies out there. And it's just common sense. Tell us more about exactly what you do. And I'm also loving the guests that you bring. And make sure you tell us about your guests. And by the way, Michael's website, corporatememorysolutions.com. Good seeing you, buddy.
Well, thanks, Kevin. Great to see you, too. Well, Corporate Memory Solutions, what we do is, we know this. What's going on in the market right now is every day there's 10,000 baby boomers are retiring. And if you've got a business that requires and has senior-level people that make up what's going on, they're going to walk out the door, and all that corporate knowledge is going to walk out with them. What we want to make sure is those senior people don't walk out the door and take all that knowledge with them. They've worked for you for 20 years. We want to help them leave a legacy on what they do. So we want to make sure we understand how they do things, why they do things, and what tools are available to help them complete their tasks successfully and keep your business growing. So that's what we do, Kevin.
Very good.
Well, today I've had the pleasure of bringing in a good friend of mine, Mr. Fred Ash. Fred's with Commercial Realty Company. Good morning, Fred. Tell us a little bit about Commercial Realty Company.
Good morning, Michael. Thanks for having me on this morning. Well, Commercial Realty Company, I've been in this business 30 years, and so I started in the 1980, and so I did experience the crash that we did have when this oil cycle went down back then. And so in 1990, I started my own firm. We're a small boutique firm, but we provide commercial real estate brokerage services from corporate leasing, if you're relocating, expanding, or if you're at the point where you're ready to purchase a property. I sell a lot of owner-occupied properties, which is a great way to invest your money in your own business and in real estate. And then on top of that, also a few development projects like retail centers, et cetera.
Well, great. Well, let's just get into the main thing that everybody wants to know. Oil and gas companies laying people off, things are happening. What do you see happening in the commercial real estate market right now with what's happening in oil here in Houston?
Surely. Well, as I mentioned earlier, I've been through this before, cut my teeth in the 80s when I didn't really know what was going on. But looking back now, I get that question all the time. Everybody's fearful or thinking that the commercial real estate market is going to tank like it did back then. Well, the news I need to say to people is the commercial real estate market is, in my opinion, and even talking to many brokers out there, still doing quite well.
I think the big difference when you say is that, in 1985, 86, roughly 70% of the entire economy of this town was directly connected to energy. That's no longer the case.
Correct. Now it's basically 50% tied to energy. And so no doubt that it's affecting many businesses here, but because our economy is diversified with the Port of Houston, and then one other strong growing market is the medical industry. Mm-hmm. And that's what's really been kind of picking up the slack here is the employment growth in that sector. I've been involved and actively seen that's why you see all these healthcare clinics being opened up, et cetera. There's a big growth going on right now in that segment as well.
Yeah.
That's helping to offset a lot of the layoffs that are going on.
I know I saw a statistic the other day that it was like 305,000 jobs can be related directly to oil and gas. And medical right now is getting almost 290,000. So they're catching up. How do you see the growth of the real estate market? Is it really changing that much from oil and gas to other industries, or what are we seeing with companies coming in here to Houston?
I would say yes, it is. It is diversifying more. Now, of course, a lot of the boom you've seen in the last 5 years, a lot of the building has been directly tied to energy companies. All the office buildings you've been seeing going up. But then you're also seeing a lot of clinics that are popping up all over the place, medical clinics. And part of that is just due to you have all these people moving to Houston. Well, all those people need medical care. And so the medical industry has found it's the more cost effective to spread out all over Houston with these little clinics than it is to just build massive hospitals. So yes, they're projecting in the next 10 years that 290,000 employees will double in the healthcare field. So
yeah. By the way, I'm looking at your website, crcompany.com, and I know a lot of these strips. You guys have a pretty significant footprint here in this town.
Yes, well, small footprint, but we have done, like I say, back in
at prime locations.
Prime locations, that's the key. When you're doing in investing, whether it's an office building, office warehouse, or a retail center, location is always the key part of it. So yes, on some of the developments that we have done for clients, we always pick the good locations so that if there is a slowdown, you still will survive and your property will continue to appreciate.
Well, I know, working with you, Fred, one of the strengths is, it's just not you. You've got a great network of people. I know you've got architects and you've got builders and you've got people at your disposal. When somebody comes in and wants to engage you, how do you generally start out an engagement with somebody?
Well, that's one thing with the experience I have, 30 years from leasing them, selling them, building them, it's a vast amount of knowledge that I help to try to streamline that process. And then with a network, like you're saying, with the architect, with the commercial contractor, et cetera, when you need technical questions, I can rely on those as well. So that's what's helpful. That's really one of the biggest services that I can provide, where not only just brokerage services, is added on consulting with how do you do it? How do you simplify the process?
Now, you mentioned earlier you've been doing this since 1980, over 30 years plus. When exactly did you start the new firm?
In 1990s when I went on my own.
Yeah, very cool, very cool.
And since then we've been, like I said, my perspective of it, even talking to a lot of brokers out there, we're seeing a little bit of a slowdown, but you got to put into perspective that people have gotten used to the last, say, 4 years of what I call hypergrowth.
Right.
And hypergrowth, you saw it in the residential market where this bit about 2-3 contracts coming in overpriced. If you're on the selling side, you like that, but that's not a healthy market.
No.
And the same was happening in commercial real estate. So what's happened is we're getting a little bit of a slowdown in stall, which is healthy. In my opinion, is good. It's getting where last year we were losing several deals because prices were getting out of control, getting too expensive. So this is positive in the sense that this slowdown is to get things back to normalcy.
Yeah.
And that's what everybody's always looking back and fearful, not looking forward, to say that, look, Houston's going to grow. These statistics of the next 25 to 30 years, people don't realize Houston will double. Just look around and just try to visualize, and you're seeing it in areas with 99 being expanded, near completion. All that will be just nothing but households and office buildings, et cetera, when you go forward for the next 10, 20 years.
Got about 30 seconds left. So go ahead, wrap it up, Michael.
Well, it's just amazing with what's going on here, Fred. We appreciate you coming in and looking at this. With businesses coming in and businesses moving, how quickly do they need to engage you? Just give me 10 seconds. Do they need to find you 1 month before they're looking in place, or we need to start looking for you a year before?
No, usually a year. If your lease is coming up and you want to understand what's going on in the marketplace at least a year before your lease expires, because you want to use time to your benefit. And if you're looking to purchase a property, the same thing. I would say 1 year before you're wanting to do something. If it gets short and it's 6 months, we can still handle it, but you don't want to wait to the last month or two before your lease is up. Yep.
Michael, I appreciate you bringing this great guest in. I think it's phenomenal. Michael Rager, he's there with Corporate Memory Solutions. That's corporatememorysolutions.com. His guest, Fred Ash, he's a broker with Commercial Realty Company and owner over there. And that's crcompany.com. Thanks, gentlemen.
Thanks a lot, Kevin. You guys enjoy today, and thanks for having us on again.
You bet.
Thank you.
And when we come back, much more for you right here on The Price of Business.